We're going to take some time this morning to talk about organ donations on National Organ Donation Day. You might have heard that there aren't enough donors, or some may be too sick to benefit from organ donations, but our next guests believe it could be a system that itself is failing those in need. And joining me now is LaQuoya Goldring and Dr. Taison Bell, who is the Assistant Professor of Medicine in the Division of Infectious Diseases at the University of Virginia. And LaQuoya, I'll begin with you. Tell us your story. You've been on the wait list now for a kidney for 6 long years.
Actually, it's been 7 long, agonizing years. When it comes to living with kidney disease and waiting for a kidney, it's been 7 long, agonizing years that I've been waiting for a kidney. And every day is a 9 to 5 job for me. I don't get a break from my health. And unfortunately, I have to deal with the consequences of being on the wait list for so long that now my heart has been affected. And unfortunately, due to this, tens and thousands of organs are going uncovered. And this is a result of OPOs not showing up and doing their jobs.
LaQuoya, we talk about things not getting done in Washington, but there is a bipartisan organ procurement reform bill under consideration by Congress in the next several weeks that could save 7,000 lives. Describe what this bill would do and how it would change the system that you find yourself trapped in.
I think that by Congress going forth with this bicameral bipartisan bill, this would allow for reform to take place, and this would hold these OPOs accountable, and they would have to step their game up and start doing more. More transplants would be done across the nation, and not just per region, but everybody would have a chance at getting a transplant who are on the list. You know, of the 108,000 people waiting, this reform is needed, and it's needed today. And it's good to see that Congress is officially ready to hold these OPOs accountable and ready to see them out here retrieving organs.
Dr. Bell, how did we get here?
Well, to be just very frank, we have not prioritized equity when it comes to allocating our scarcest resources. And when you think about what is the most precious resource that we have available in healthcare, it is organs by far. And so these are taxpayer funded organizations. We absolutely have to have accountability, and everyone needs a fair shot. Dialysis is no joke. And I'm just happy LaQuoya is still here because the 5-year survival rate on dialysis is less than 50%. More than half of people at the 5-year mark are no longer here with us. And we have a disproportionate number of Black patients who are on dialysis. Now, with transplantation, that 5-year survival rate increases to 80%. So we are literally talking about lives that are on the line waiting for an organ. 33 people die each day waiting for an organ. And so we have to have accountability for these organizations.
Yeah, my mom was on dialysis, and because of her age, she was given a 2-year lifespan. I'm very familiar with what you're talking about. It sounds like the operative word here is discrimination. Is that safe? Is that a safe word to use?
That's the proper word to use. It's systemic racism. I mean, this is the face of it, right? It's there are numbers on papers, but what we see are the people in our own families. You know, this is very real for us. We all have our stories. I have my own of family members who are on dialysis or waiting transplant. So we have to be comfortable with the word, right? Because we have to call a spade a spade. And then what we have to do is press accountability for these organizations. They need to be more diverse. They need to have accountability. And we need to make sure that health equity and making sure that we are anti-racist in our approach is how we deliver healthcare.
LaQuoya, I know that you want to be measured in your words because so much is on the line. But if you're screaming at the ceiling right now, what are you screaming? What are you yelling about? What do you want the audience to understand about what you're going through?
I'm just not understanding why any patient should wait 3, 5, or 10 years for an organ transplant when we have millions of people in this country who are willing and able to sign up to be organ donors. And when you ask the larger population, at least 80 to 85% people will say yes to organ donation. I am constantly screaming, like, I'm not understanding how organs are lost in transit. How are kidneys being lost in airports? And there's nobody being held accountable for this. Why aren't we getting transplants? Why am I still having to wait 7 years for a kidney transplant? the answer still lies in we need OPO reform, and patients' lives are on the line today. Do something now, not tomorrow, not 2026, but now.
Are you worried that you might not make it?
That is a fear of mine. The biggest concern now is making sure that I continue to do dialysis 4 days a week and run those 4 hours the entire time, and also just been able to take care of my heart health. My function has dropped twice because I'm in kidney failure, and a lot of the times you'll see that Black populations and just brown and Black people in general who've been on the wait list for a while are at a higher risk of multi-organ function. And unfortunately, until OPOs start showing up at the hospitals to talk to Black families, and we can change the fact that they're only showing up for half that percent of Black families versus white families, we're still going to be stuck in the same predicament of the COVID numbers are going up, organs are needed, and there's just not enough of the OPOs out here doing their jobs.
LaQuoya, I feel your pain because I did watch my mom go through this, and it is devastating what you're going through. So you will always be in my prayers. But last question to you, Dr. Bell. She talked about COVID, and now there's going to be a larger demand for organ transplantation because of so many organ failures. What are you seeing with regards to COVID affecting your industry?
Well, COVID is a multi-organ disease. We think about it primarily affecting the lungs, but what I see in the ICU are people who, even if they survive, are frequently in need of dialysis or lung transplantation. And so we are absolutely seeing a higher demand for organs in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. And, unfortunately, we've seen this play out in so many other ways. This is disproportionately impacting African Americans. And so it's going to create more of a need, which means it's that much more urgent that we press for accountability and fix this problem now.
If you don't know anybody who is undergoing dialysis, talk to them and you will understand the personal pain of LaQuoya Goldring and Dr. Taison Bell joining us from Charlottesville. Both of you, thank you very much for being with us. We will continue to stay on this story. You are watching the second hour of DC Today.